So the first question is, who has kids out here? Okay, so somebody took two. And who has kids that are from 1 to 3 years old, toddlers? Yeah, there are some people for toddlers. Do your kids play games on the iPad, on the iPhone? Yes? Okay, that's great. So I'll tell you, we are a small startup of 6 people from the western Ukraine, Lviv, and we develop games for kids from 1 to 6 years old. And we have released one game for toddlers, second is in development. And I will tell you what else you can do besides development to engage your audience, because our game is oriented on Ukrainian market. So what do? We want to create high-quality products for Ukrainian children. We are not a profitable company. We are focused more on education. We are kind of a social project, and for now we are looking for opportunities for some bigger companies like McDonald's, Microsoft, Coca-Cola to invest, not to get profit, but into development. So, what do? I do all the development stuff and all the publishing stuff. So, what else you can do? Let's begin. So, the biggest and the greatest benefit of developing games for kids, you know exactly who your target audience is. When developing different games, there might be some amplitude because you can develop for one people and then other people play it, but in this case, these are definitely mothers who download their games for toddlers. There have been some men, but actually not that often. Knowing that we are targeting mothers who are looking for something interesting and educational to engage their children, because mostly games for toddlers are used for what? To distract a child and to give the mother a few minutes of free time, right? So, for example, when you're driving a car or something like that, and you also want this experience to be not only time wasting for the child, you want the child to learn something, to actually develop some skills. So you use that time. We want the Ukrainian mothers to use that time to educate their children. That's what we want to do. So, and the classical marketing type doesn't work that way. In Ukraine, this mobile market is only appearing to grow. People only start spending money, and our children in Ukraine play Russian, English, and different low-quality products, and we are trying to fill this gap. And so what else do we do? So mothers can tell you a lot. Our project coordinators are 2 mothers who have small children, and the first thing we do, we collect mothers and show them our games and ask them, would you buy this? Would you like do you like graphics? Do you like the content? What would you change? How would you change it? And collect their feedback and extensively work with mothers all the time. So if you're developing games for kids, there has to be a person in your team who has kids and is involved into child education. So ask them together, their mother friends. Gather them, ask them, have a cup of coffee, and discuss your games. So, because these are the people who would buy your games and who download them. Okay, what's the second thing? Children play our games. We test our games on children. For example, we had there were 3 artists and 3 types of art to choose from to begin our startup. And what things helped us to choose the correct, not the correct, but the art for our games. We have made a lot of pictures and asked children, made a small contest for children and asked them to take those pictures they would like as a prize for the games they won. So one of the types of art was more pleasing to children than others. So that's the way. We look at children, how do they play games. We record the process of how children play our games, because the first hour game is kind of an interactive story or dialogue about mother and the child. Mother asks question, the child responds, and the child has to push some buttons in the different places of the screen to develop motorics, and it we kind of interesting to look how the toddler plays your games. So we'll find out a lot of things of that every click has to do something, and by analyzing that videos, you will find out a lot. Okay, so what do we do next? Involve people into your community into development. People love to choose characters. That's actually the posts that gather the most likes. So ask your artist to make, so this is choosing the grandpa, and this is for our new game, choosing a fox. Ask for the feedback, just people love choosing the characters. They even start arguments in your comments, and it involves people even more. And also ask for their feedback. Okay, the other thing that we do to involve our audience, it actually started in the beginning. We asked, would it be great if we go not only the software part in mobile gaming, but more in the hardware part? What I mean into the hardware, it means let's make the characters from our games the heroes of some printable materials. So on our side, there are a lot of different cutouts, a lot of puzzles, painting books that parents can download for free. And play with their kids at home. We also printed some of them, made a collection of these things, and people started asking us, where can we buy this stuff? So we are now making a product out of it. It's could be a square book with a collection of coloring books, cutouts, different materials for the smallest children to play with. So we also regularly make posts about how to use them and how to play with them. So these are called Nravke, and they are additional printable materials that help us to spread the name of our company. We put them, we have some, not deals, but we have friends who have some stores, and they put this as just a free content for child development. So what you can do, you can make some educational printable materials and it really works well because children love the heroes from the game, and they will gladly paint them, gladly make the cardboard figures out of them, and that really works well for kids. Of course, contests. That's a little bit cliche, but make a Facebook contest. For example, ask bloggers to write about your game. Don't ask to write good about your game, but ask them to write about your game, what they think, and then give them some presents for that. That actually worked. But the next, organize events. So if you live in a big city like a capital, you can engage the parents by organizing big events. So for example, this one is an excursion to the local radio station. So our Mother's Club took kids to the radio station so the child could look how radio people work, and how it is, have fun feeling themselves as a real radio station workers, and different master classes from different clubs. So if you live in a big city, there are clubs for early child development. If you develop games for kids, they would love to help you out and to spread your games and to make partnership with you, because you make educational content, like I told earlier, those printed materials, and they would love to use it. Because one of our project coordinators is a fan of like handmade stuff, and she's really into it, and she helps developing all this stuff, and it works really great besides the development. Okay. Also, visit lots of events. Most of events would seem like they are not your type of event, because this is me and our artist on IDCE 2014. Even though we're not looking for like direct profit investments for profit, there's still found a lot of great partners out there. So we just made acquaintance with people who like can do YouTube videos and stuff. So visiting these kind of events really helps. The last point I want to tell, if you go into mobile development and making games for kids, you should go, and if you use Unity, you should try to do something with Microsoft, because if you don't have that media support, it's really tough to go iOS and Google Play and really involve some audience in there, because market's really overcrowded and will be competing with such giants like Stokaboka or Taptail, and it's really tough. And on the Windows Phone, the Windows is like praying for you to make great content for their store. If you manage to like find the right people there at Microsoft, they'll give you the license, the device. That's actually what we did. When porting our game, we wrote to Windows team, and they sent us a device and developer license, and they also gave us featuring. This is the only platform we were featured on, and English version had a pretty lots of downloads out there. So if you're developing games for kids, the Microsoft is a really great platform. It might seem like it's not, but it really is. Okay, so now I would like to work like in more questions and answers format. Any questions?
How much are mothers involved in choosing graphics and design for the game? Because you say the mother are looking, but in the second part, the child are choosing design. How much actually mothers are involved in that?
It's actually a compromise. So we collect all of the data and try to think what seems reasonable. And try to make it more statistical, because if there is a tree and the child always clicks on tree and our tree is not clickable, we have to make it clickable because everybody clicks on it. We really chose it was with children only in the beginning of the art style. Like, we made preference to, I don't really think, we just made preference because really there was like 20, and 60% children chose that art. So it wasn't like nearly equal, but some of the art was given preference by children because it was like, I guess it was more pleasant for the children.
And one question more. Do you make any in-game help for when child are played? Just visual, or like he can ask the mother to read or something like
no,
that?
it's like the point of the game that the game should keep the child busy on itself. So the thing is, like, our game is built like dialogue. So like it begins like mother asks, "What is shining in the sky?" And then the big shiny button appears and it's pulsing. So the child has to recognize it, and it appears in different points of the screen. The child has to press it, and then the story continues. So it's not like there is interaction. So if you don't press the button, and it develops like motorics of the child for her to like to push the button. Yeah.
Have you ever tried partnerships with educational producers, like publishing houses?
Yes, for now we are like, for now we are like making all these our printed materials as a separate product with one of the publishing houses. You mean like these materials I was talking about, right?
I mean, in the other hand, partnership for real for already existing educational books, which could be complemented by games and together make the dialogue with the preschool children.
Oh, we are really working hard in that direction. We are contacting trying to contact Ukrainian Ministry of Education, but it's kind of complicated stuff. And the great thing is our community manager is like the girl. She's really into it, and she writes tales about our game Heroes, like fairy tales on the resource. And we are planning to make a real book, but it's still tough because our team is really small and we are getting all directions.
How big is your team?
Was 5 people and now it's 6 people. It's like 1 developer, 2 artists, 2 project coordinators, and community manager.
And last question, sorry. Are you interested to go out of Ukraine?
Do our leaders go out of Ukraine?
No. Are you, your company, interested to work out of Ukraine, like with educational materials?
We plan to. I persisted on localizing our game into English and Russian, and we would like to go as much international as possible, as our resources will allow us, but we are currently focused on Ukrainian market. That's the vision of the coordinators. Any more questions, maybe about considering technical issues of development?
Hi. I'm interested, who has in the team most influence and inputs on the actual educational aspect and gameplay? For example, I would expect someone with a background in psychology maybe to make those decisions.
Yeah, as I already told, these are our 2 project coordinators are mothers of the small children. One of them has 2 sons that are like 3 years old or a little bit older, and one has a daughter that is. And these 2 women are really into progressive child education, so they really like to research all this modern child educational stuff, these Montessori techniques and they try to bring up their children by using all these progressive techniques. They are not like psychologists or something like that, but they are mothers that they are sure that they know what Ukrainian kids have to. So they are just doing it like more for their children.
Thank you.
Any questions? You were looking for VCs for funding?
We're looking into opportunities for companies that would like to invest, but not about getting profits. So it's like investment, more like not a charity, but like investing into education, like into child development and these types of companies who are not looking like into getting profit.
Okay. Thank you very much, Taras.